Hello, everybody. Welcome to Qobuz Live this Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we've got a very special guest, as always. We've got Owen Kwan from Astel&Kern. We'll bring him on in just a few minutes, and we'll be talking about DAP players, digital audio players today, and what Astel&Kern has brought to the table, which has been a whole lot since I've known these guys, which has really been at about the beginning. So we'll definitely be bringing up a lot of stuff. If you've got any questions or suggestions or things that you would like to know, please be sure to put them in the chat area. We will get to them if at all possible. If we don't happen to get to your question, then we'll answer it afterwards. We'll make sure that all the questions are answered. Got a great show, but before we start, I will tell you a little bit about Qobuz, just in case you don't know, or in case you happen to be new to us. We've got over 60 million tracks, and these 60 million tracks are either in full resolution, which would be at least CD quality 1644 or above, up to 24192, like really high end studio quality tracks, and we've got over 2 million of those things. We'll talk about the download store in just a second, but before we get into that, we'll talk about a few of the plans that we've got, which we've got a $15 plan that gets you everything. We were able to come down from 25 to 15 last November, which was huge for us, and really expanded the audience quite a bit, because now we're seeing people that used to be Spotify customers or Apple customers or some of the lesser price services. Now Qobuz is within spitting distance from those companies from a price standpoint. So now for $15, you get to get streams up to over 9,500 kilobits per second, as opposed to, say, with a standard service, you're getting somewhere around 320 kilobits per second. So it's a lot higher resolution. And if you are one who listens to music actively, you'll start hearing big differences right away. So if you do an annual plan like that, it'll only run you like $12.50 a month. If you do it just by month, it'll be $14.99. And then we just added on a family plan, which has been getting tons of traction. So now you can turn your family on to high resolution, even if say the kids or one of your family members, or most of them, don't understand high resolution or what it's all about. Even if they're the kind that are going, well, my other service sounds just like a Qobuz. It doesn't. But if you're not a really strong listener, if that's not your first thing that you're thinking is listening to the quality of the music, it's easy to think that, because you still get all the notes, you just don't get all the detail. So my trick, and it didn't turn out to be a trick, it was just really more of something that I noticed, was that and my son brought it to my attention, because he's the one who told me to begin with, well, Dad, Spotify sounds just as good. Why I oughta you really go, come on, buddy, seriously? But about 6 months later, he went back to Spotify from Qobuz, and he's going, Dad, it really does sound better. I can't even describe it. But if you let somebody listen to higher resolution one time, they may not get it. But if you make it, or if you have the ability to turn someone on to this for a bit of a period, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and then you try to get them to go back to a regular service, that's when you're going to start hearing the biggest differences. Recordings have just gotten so much better over time. And now, if you got a family of 6, you're at about a little better than $4 per month. To get them all into high resolution. One of the other sections that I will tell you about, and our next guest has just not too long ago put a playlist up here is the my favorite section of Qobuz, and it's about the second most popular part of Qobuz, is the partner section. So we have got tons and tons of partners, whether they be manufacturers or retailers. They've all, or well, really, there's a lot of them up there, but they've all got playlists, or a ton of them have got playlists up there. And you will take a listen to these playlists, and you're going, how did these guys find this music? That's what I find myself saying when I listen to it, because I'm a pretty eclectic guy. But when you listen to these playlists, you will flip out over the creativity and the in-depth knowledge that some of these manufacturers have about music. So it's not all the same stuff. Go here and check it out. But it's a really, really fun page to take a gander at, and then listen. So welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome my guest, Owen Kwan from Astel&Kern. Owen, come on up, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you, David?
Good to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about this not too long ago. We've known each other since about the time, maybe just a little bit after Astel&Kern got started. We met each other in what, 2013? Yeah. Well, listen, before we really get into Astel&Kern, it's like you really lead that team, and you've been doing such a good job for years now. I mean, you sort of live and breathe the company. How did this company get started? Because at this point, like in 2012, 2013, there was not a lot of people talking about high resolution. We were still in just such an infancy of even DAP players. How did you guys, could you tell us a little bit about Astel&Kern, how you guys got started? What made you think of going to high resolution when everybody really...
My pleasure.
99% of the audience weren't listening to high res. They were happy to have MP3. So tell us a little bit about the company to begin with.
Right. So I believe everything could happen. Everything had happened because of the teamwork that Astel&Kern and then its developers, engineers, and sound engineers, and all the other people who work inside and outside of the iRiver, made this possible. And without the support and then true love from our fans, actually drove everything to at this point that we can truly enjoy the quality of high-res audio. So it was the wild idea that we started from the company called iRiver. That is the first company that commercially made MP3 players available.
Okay, hold on now. Was this before, say, the iPod?
Yeah, it was a lot earlier than the iPods. iPod is a latecomer that came late after, around 2000, in a couple of years behind. And then, but the whole point of it was we wanted to have this music handy so that you can have something to go and that fills you in throughout your day. But at that time, the technology and the capacity and the memories and everything were not good enough for playing back of the high-res music or digital audio to the true quality. So around 2010, 2011, this wild idea of what if we can make the portable player that is capable of handling high-res audio. At that time, 2496, 24192 was the highest. And then a couple of DSD, single-layer DSD or double-layered rated DSD were just, it was just considered as an option. But then we came back with to take the advantage of the advanced technology, including faster broadband speed, and then bigger battery, and then bigger storage, internal storage memory, and then a more powerful processing power for converting those zeros and ones into the analog signal so that you can enjoy the whatever that is captured without the guessworks. And we've been badly looking for more convenient yet quality options and then partners in the market. And Qobuz earlier came into the market as one of the first, evangelists of high-res music streaming, including the 24 bits, 16 bits, and all different qualities. And that's how we all got started. And then since then, we've been even perfecting our players. And Qobuz has even more, adding more libraries and then streaming experiences for the users, and also the download purchase options too. So I think it's been the great match that could create the true synergy in between, so that it benefits to all the music lovers.
Yeah, it really has been for really a number of manufacturers, but when you guys were really getting started, you would have to buy these really expensive files. I remember this the most. But I think it was my first real experience with the A&K players was at a Music Matters event in Denver, Colorado at Listen Up, one of my favorite dealers. They're a lot of fun. And you showed me this. You said, "Oh, well, I'm trying to remember the headphones. I don't even remember the headphones. I remember there were some nice ones. Maybe there were some. I think maybe Odyssey or something. There was
We brought the
really
pairs
nice.
of headsets.
And you let me hear this thing, and I was just totally blown away, as was everybody that heard it. If I remember correctly, there was maybe 10 or 12 sets of really nice cans that you could just pick any, Sennheiser, the Odyssey, and headphones like that. They were really high-end headphones, and it was amazing watching people being thrilled by what you guys were doing. And I loved what you guys were doing, because didn't for a while you guys preload music onto the A&K players?
Yeah, we wanted to at least give a little bit of fun to it for the new player when it's taken out of the box by the users. Then they can immediately take a test drive of the player with their pair of headphones, so that we preloaded the players with some test tracks on the player, in the package.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I remembered about the early days at Astel&Kern, and even some you would there was another year that you guys were offering like a free Beatles SD card, so that you could just and it was some of the first high-res Beatles stuff, right? And we were all just amazed with this thing. I even saw a few people taking these portable units and putting them in really expensive high-end systems.
Yeah. So we even evolved our music services from putting the highly recommended and then highly reputable albums, great performances into micro SD card in the digital file formats. Yet, we've been offering that SD card albums like Disney's, the Beatles One albums, or Maria Callas packages, or the Blue Note celebration for the 75th anniversary. And then now we even offer even more, that the regional music service called more of a streaming service, or customer interaction interface for the music lovers in Korea. But then for US market, we do recommend our customers to really get to the full experience of our device and then its capacity by matching it and pairing it with high-res downloads or high-res streaming services. So yeah, it's been a while, just a little more than 8+ years now.
That's fantastic. I want to mention before we get too much further into this, because we're really getting way ahead of ourselves, way ahead of the conversation that I was actually planning to begin with. But I do want to mention that Owen was kind enough to say, look, we're doing this really cool live stream. Why don't we give away a player to one of your listeners? I'm thinking that is so nice. If you guys do that, then we'll put a year of Qobuz on it. So I think what we're going to do is you guys start asking questions. The person that comes up with what's deemed by Qobuz and Astel&Kern to be the very best question, you'll end up being the winner of this really cool player, this Activo CT10, which does everything that we're talking about. It'll accept Qobuz, and it'll, even if you've got other high res files that you want to download on here that may not be available on Qobuz or your favorite streaming service, then you can actually download those straight from just any files that you have. It's kind of like a hard drive. It's a really neat little piece, but then it'll play back your stuff and your music in full res. So I want to thank you very much for the offer. That's super kind of you, and can't wait to see the person that ends. And plus, we've already got some just great questions coming up here. In fact, this is one that I was going to bring up, but I'm not going to do that right now because, like I say, we've gotten way ahead of ourselves. One of the things I want to know, Owen, about you is what did you do to even get into this business? Were you in California at that time, or were you in Korea? What's your background? Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to lead Qobuz? Astel&Kern in the United States?
Yeah, sure. So it's been a journey for sure for me to getting started with the new brand of products, and then jumping into the market that we've never been into before, and creating the proper image that matches to the quality that we offer.
So was that iRiver that hired you to begin with?
That is correct.
Now, was that here or was that in Korea?
It is a Korean company, and I've been working with iRiver since 2007.
And so what did you do when you first started work? Were you like the janitor that worked his way up, or did you just come right in as in management? How did you start with iRiver?
My first title was a supply chain manager.
Which means?
So I was mostly handling the communication between our U.S. operation and then the Korean headquarters and manufacturing side to make sure everything flows without stocking.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you started that when you guys were still doing the MP3 players then?
So that is correct.
And you guys were actually doing pretty good with those if it just stayed MP3, right?
It was fun days, yeah. I still see some folks or meeting some of the visitors at the show who still remembers the iRiver player, and then who still own and using the iRiver players too. And then at the time, iRiver player was known for its quality and then convenience factor of the keeping the music handy with you. But streaming or over the cellular network, those things were, if you were talking about those things in mid 2000, then probably a lot of people wouldn't be just listening to, but just call 911 for you. But then now we have been evolved with the new technologies of streamings, and then over the Wi-Fi and over the different networks, so that you can stream the quality of exactly the same digital file, which is just amazing. But
yeah, it really is.
The iRiver days, I dealt with a lot of different MP3 players that, some of them had 36 megabytes or the 256 megabytes, 512 megabytes. That was the largest memory option when I joined the company, and that it was super expensive too. But
yeah, we were going through that time though, and really we were going through that time for a good decade, right? So there was a lot of people really a whole generation of people that's all they knew were MP3s. I mean, we literally lost a whole generation of people that went from, wow, this is really high quality music, to the quantity. The big thing back then was I can get 1,000 songs on this little player. And I got to tell you, to those of us that used to carry around booklets of CDs and tapes out the wazoo, which can't even come close to comparing to that, that was a big deal. 1,000 songs. It was just one of those things. And it was so easy to market, and people just took it and ran with it. The problem that I see with some people now, probably not a lot on this that's watching this this broadcast, because most of them tend to be a little more educated musically, is that we have literally not too long ago, before iTunes stopped selling music, people were buying 256 kilobit music for $1.99, $1.29 a song, which you could literally, for years prior to that, or a few years at least prior to that, you could be buying full resolution or even higher resolution for the same price that they were paying for. But the big thing was still, wow, I can get, 1,000 songs on this thing. That was the big thing. So when you guys kind of broke that mold and went, I'm not going to be that kind of company, that's when I started paying attention to you. That's when Astel&Kern started becoming really well known in the audiophile community, I think.
Yeah. So since there's a change, the topic that we wanted to change since the iRiver days of MP3s, that we definitely did offer the conveniences, but then we couldn't provide the full quality. And now Astel&Kern brand was created because we wanted to bring back all the ambience, air, depth, and every resonance that is possibly captured onto the music to the listener's ears, so that listeners can decide whether it was great performance or not. And that's how all idea of Astel&Kern started. But honestly, some folks of Astel&Kern is been telling me that if they knew these challenges were going to show up on their doorstep, they wouldn't be even starting it. But because we were too naive, when we were starting this dream project, we've been through a lot of challenges and then difficulties of technologies, and then also educating the public, and working with many different stakeholders to make sure this technology became and be at disposal of our listeners.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to talk about a couple of specific players. We don't have time. I mean, I wish we're already 23 past the hour, and we've still got so much to talk about. So we're going to talk about a couple of the Astel&Kern's players. But Dan, I want you to get prepared to do your segment. I hope you can hear me and you're still there. But once I start seeing you, we'll go ahead and set you up for your segment. So I think what we're going to do before we're just going to continue for about another 2-3 minutes, and then we'll bring Dan on. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to bring up one of your models. This is this is not the giveaway model. This is a step up from that. This is a $699 model called the SR25. But this is one of your newer models, right?
That is correct. This is the newly updated version of the second unit of Norma model, which is more for the conventional version of the players. And this is one of the devices that we renovated a lot from its predecessor, including the playback time and the usability, and then faster and more prompt the user interface experiences, including making sure it is working with great Qobuz apps too.
Well, you and I were talking about this a few days ago, and I'd called Owen up, and I'm going, this is, you guys have got great players, but why do you have to sideload? Why do you have to sideload Qobuz? It's like you've got Tidal and all of the other services on there. Why don't you put Qobuz on there? He goes, well, David, it's because we want it to work the very best Qobuz can work. So what you do is you sideload the Qobuz app onto the Astel&Kern units, and at that point, you can take advantage of downloading onto actually a little SD card that you can get for these things, which actually gives us quite the advantage, because now there's a lot of people that still buy music. We've got a ton of them, and more, believe it or not, are starting to buy music. Not necessarily, but there's two categories. The first category are the people that are going, you know what? I don't trust anybody. I want to buy my music. I get that. I totally get that. And then there's the second type. I sort of kind of waffle in between the two types of people. The second type are the people that want to support the artists. And so a lot of people will be buying the artists cuts just so the artist gets more out of the cut than they would if it were streaming. So they don't make a lot at all. So if you are one of those people and you take advantage of our download store, you get just these crazy prices on this stuff, but you can support your artists or own your own music. And of course, you can put about as much of it on the Astel&Kerns as any one of these chips can hold, which these days it's a whole lot.
I agree. And I think a music collection is somehow, if I compare it to the photos that I have on my phone, there are some important photos of my family that I would never want to lose, like, the younger days of my kids or other happy moments. And, those are the moments that I'd like to keep it safely and then make multiple copies for myself. But there are some other photos that you can just laugh and then just, it's okay for you to just keeping it only a cloud copy. I wouldn't mind just keeping it onto one of the cloud servers and then just let be it. And I think music is the same too. I still buy some music CDs from time to time. But then, I do buy some of the long plays or the vinyls based on my preference of my music. So, I think that is a great option that you guys offer for both of download options and then streaming at the same time.
Well, before we continue, I want to bring on a friend of both of ours, Dan.
Hey,
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good.
All of a sudden, I started sneezing right when you brought me on. I can't believe it. But, that's why I could never be a TV professional, right? But allergies up here in the New York area, this is a bad time. A lot of our team members are down with allergies.
Oh,
yeah, not me. I have no allergies. I'm just having a good enough time that it's like 81 degrees outside. If it weren't for you people, I would be on the river right now in my new kayak. So feel privileged, because this is something that I don't like to miss a lot. Dan, Owen and I are going to go away for a few minutes. Dan is going to take Sujan's spot. Not that anybody could ever take Sujan's spot. She is one of a kind. Dan be pretty close second from a knowledge of music and just loving what he does as well, and loving all the music like we all do. We're going to let Dan talk about a few of the new cuts, and then at the very end of Dan's talk, he's got one more little thing he's going to say, and then Owen and I will come back on. So Owen, take care, buddy. We'll see you in a few minutes. And Dano, I'm going to exit and let you do your thing. Thanks a lot for being on the show with us.
Oh, no problem. I'm happy to do it. Because it gives me a chance to show off my beautiful Grado headphones that I'm wearing. Just
those are those. Which ones are those?
These are the GS 3000E Statement Series. Really incredible headphones. And at Qobuz, something like this is the only thing that could tear me away from listening to music. It's just there's so much music to listen to. We never run out stuff to listen to. But
Dan and I do multiple Zoom meetings throughout the week, and there is never a time that he comes on the Zoom that music isn't on. He's always listening to music.
I do that. That's not just a running joke.
Right? No, we both do. That's the cool thing. You're talking to the music lovers. This isn't just a job for either one of us or really anybody on our team. So I'm going to say goodbye for a few minutes, let you get your thing, let you get your segment done, and enjoy, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. So let's see what we've got. Well, one thing that I was going to mention, I think I'm doing this right, is that I'm moderating a panel next week as part of the Mondo NYC Fest. It came together really at the last minute, but it's going to be on Thursday at 11 a.m. You can find the panel registration or whatever you need online, mondo.nyc. But I'm going to have Christian McBride, Ron St. Germain, and a couple of other special guests joining me. The name of the panel is, I just finalized the name. I want to get it exactly right. The name of the panel is Listening's New Frontier: How Advances in Audio Quality Inspire Creators and Reward Music Fans. And that's what it's all about. So definitely join us next week. That'll be a really cool panel outside of the Qobuz Live universe. You know, we've got our regular weekly show next week as well. And in terms of new releases that you're going to see available for purchase or streaming on Qobuz this week, Friday, new releases. One of my favorite bands, pretty punky, noisy band called Mets, Canadian band, has a new album that's coming out in 24-bit on Friday. And my good story about Mets is the first time I saw them was at an underground venue in Brooklyn called Shea Stadium. That was the name of the club. So I was seeing Mets at Shea Stadium, and I thought that was pretty funny. So, and their music's pretty good too. Also coming out this week, a great new reissue of Morrison Hotel. You say what you want about the Doors and Jim Morrison. I happen to like all of their albums quite a bit. Just a lot of good musicianship, really great recording all the way through their career for the era. And it's just, for me, fun. I don't think that you listen to the Doors looking for any great revelations from the Lizard King, but this is going to be a good one, and it's going to be available on Friday in 24-bit, 96 kilohertz resolution, so it's sure to sound as good as it's ever sounded. And then, you know, here's another band that, you know, I think of them as a new band, but that just shows how old I am. But we know that they've got tons of fans. People who use Qobuz are really into these guys. So this is one that they've been looking forward to, the 20th anniversary edition of Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory album. So look for that on Friday as well. I'm sure that will offer a lot of enjoyable listening as well. And that's what I've got in terms of new releases. Oh, right. I should also mention that to accompany this new reissue, we've got all of their albums, or 10 of their albums, available in high res in our download store, and they will all be on sale starting the 13th for 2 weeks, 20% off. So again, if you're one of these people like us, like Owen, that like to own some of their favorite music, this will be a great time to fill your Linkin Park back catalog with the very best available sound quality at a great price. Someone's at my front door. A lot of good that does me. So the other thing, that I just wanted to mention is we lost a great music originator this week, Eddie Van Halen, and we around Qobuz have been talking a lot about Van Halen music and listening to a lot, and I was just going to show, in terms of Astel&Kern, we're not only fans, but we're, oh, you know what? I'm flipped. I think. Oh no, that's right. It's just, you can see that there. I'm listening to some Van Halen in high res on my Astel&Kern player. Tons of high res Van Halen available on Qobuz, and it's never sounded better than through my Astel&Kern player, and these headphones are really any cans that I plug into it, always reliable, always great, and we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk.
It kills me. This is one, you expect at some point Keith Richards is going to go away. When it totally took, I hadn't even considered Eddie going away, and when he did, it just brought back all of these like memories when I was a kid, and one of the memories it brought back was back then one of my best friends was just a really good guitar player. All guitar players back in the 70s, 80s, if they had an electric guitar and they were rock fans, these guys were all trying to figure out how to hammer like Eddie Van Halen. And I've maybe watched more Eddie Van Halen videos over the last couple of days than I ever have. Look up some of his stuff. This guy was not just a flashy kind of rock guy. This guy was a virtuoso. He was an animal, an absolute fantastic guitarist that was one of the most precision guys I've ever heard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if people in the younger generations can really fully grasp how much of an impact he had on music in the late 70s and 80s. And anyhow, that's it's going to be, I'm afraid, an ongoing thing. We're losing some, but we're gaining some great new artists and up and coming musicians, and that's the beautiful thing about new music every week, and the fact that it's all available for people to listen to and enjoy with a easy to hear it and discover. And so,
well, Dan,
it is what it is, David. It is what it is.
Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you sitting in for Sujan. We'll be looking forward to her next time. One of these days, I'm going to get Neetha Viraporn, who, by the way, I'd like to thank for producing this show. Thank you very much, Neetha. You're awesome. Always a hard worker. One of these days, we're going to get Neetha on here because Neetha, her major was in like classical music, and she knows everything about classical music. So one of these days, we're going to get her on here and do a little classical section.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you later.
Take care. Thanks a lot. All right. Thanks, Dan. We always appreciate your being on. Dan's always got a ton of stuff to do. If you don't know, Dan is our managing director. But he's like one of these kind of guys that doesn't act like it. We just get stuff done, and he leads the whole team, and really, really appreciate a guy like that on our team. So, hey, let's bring back our buddy, Owen. Welcome back. So we kind of got, stopped like kind of mid pretty interesting story. We were up to, you just kind of, you were working at iRiver. You guys came up with the plan that high res at some point is going to be a big thing, and you came up with Astel&Kern. What were you doing at that point? Were you still weren't in? What was your job title at that point when you guys released the Astel&Kern stuff?
Yeah, so when we do that, it was 2012, October 10th. Actually, in a couple of days, it is going to turn 9 years old, right? And then, so that's when we made the initial announcement of introduction of Astel&Kern. Weird name at the time, but then in Korea, invited many of our industry friends, and then the people from the music and the recording side of them, and we proudly present our product. And 2013 January, we introduced that brand and product for the first time to the U.S. market from CES, and had some series of interesting meetings with other customers and then industry folks at the CES. And since then, we've been just taking step by step. And I was only a general manager of a U.S. operations.
And now, what is your title now?
So there has been a slight change. So after running this Astel&Kern business in North America for about 7+ years, there was a new opportunity popped up on my way. I was more interested in for developing further business of Astel&Kern and other high-res audio products in U.S. market. So I decided to buy out this iRiver's U.S. operations or North American operations. So the acquisition happened, and then I changed the company name from iRiver Inc. to Inviction Inc. That is the new name of my company. So as a president and then head slacker of the company, I mostly do slacking and then just crack some whips from time to time. And rest of all my team are really working hard. But what I must say is that nothing could be possibly done without the team members that we have in our team, and then inside and outside of our operations. Katie Springer, Esther Kim, Andrew Wu, Jason Henriquez, then all the other sales support of different companies out there, and other marketing and the warehousing and then third-party services that we've been working very closely together, could possibly put this Astel&Kern brand on many music lovers' radar.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. And I really did. I've been trying for 10 minutes to get you to say that I'm the president of the company. However, you're so humble. You're like my favorite kind of leader. It's the same what I was just talking about, Dan. Unless you like really dive down into it, you would never know he's our managing director. He's a guy that works here. He loves what he does. He does lead our team, but he doesn't act like, everyone is below him. That is the way that I've found you since you and I met. And one of the things that attracted you to me from a friend standpoint. So you're always very humble, and I very much appreciate that. And you very rarely take credit where credit is due. But let's kind of thank you for getting us up to speed on that. I was just about to pull this question back up because it's a really good question. Leonardo, thank you very much for asking this. The Con Alpha, and I agree with this. This is getting really fun at this point. The Con Alpha has the potential to be AK's bestseller, affordable and great specs. Can you expand upon the new release? Thanks very much for asking that. That kind of puts you in the running. But let's talk about that was the second player we had actually talked about yesterday or the day before when we were talking about this. That can you tell us a little bit about the difference between this and the 25 that we just showed from a performance standpoint and any different kind of features? What is this? What's well, first off, we didn't even talk about the SR25, the one that we brought back, that we brought a little while ago. That unit goes for about $700.
That is correct.
Right?
Yes.
Now the Alpha, the Alpha Con, what is it going for?
It's a $1,099.
So it's a little more money. What do you get for the extra dollars? First off, I got to tell you, I meant to say this when we pulled up the SR25 to begin with. Mm-hmm. The industrial design on this stuff is awesome. And if you have never picked up an Astel&Kern unit like this is a piece of product you could kill someone with. I mean, it's rock. So Tell me the difference. Is it a better DAC, better amplifier, better headphone section? What do you start getting when you start stepping up into these units?
Right. I mean, by paying $400 more on the Con Alpha unit than the SR25, you'll get a twice bigger device and then a lot heavier so that it will get the job done. Meaning
So
that
you really can kill somebody with this one.
I mean that the Con Alpha is a second generation, or the third model that we introduced under the Con family names, and the Con lineup has been known for its power output, so that you would not really need to have a big headphone amplifier on the go if you want to really serious and power hungry headphones. So the Con Alpha unit is equipped with internal headphone amplifier, and then the extra battery that supports both of the player and the amplifier too. And now it offers up to 12 volt RMS of power output, and which is by far the one of the strongest lineup of ours. And this Con Alpha, like how we designed the previous versions too, has all independent the circuitries between single-ended or 3.5 and the balanced output. So,
so the Con Alpha is balanced output then.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you. The Con Alpha has got a balanced output, and the SR25 does not.
SR25 has balanced output as well. The Con Alpha's balanced output is there are two different options for the first time. So Con Alpha is the first model that is going to be equipped with a Pentacon's 4.4 millimeter balanced output and traditional 2.5 millimeter balanced output as well.
Great. So really, if you think about it, you could use these units not only as a portable player, but this would be a fine player for a home system. You could run a high-end audio system off this thing.
That is exactly right. And then in many cases of our customers, they're not only using it on the go, but a lot of cases they hooked it up to a home audio system so that it can be a digital source and the streamer for your music contents. Now, when it's connected to from the balanced output of the player to the balanced input of your amp or other home audio setups, then you can control the player from the application that is written by us and then offered for free.
Okay, hold on just a sec.
You can control the music on your smartphone or on your tablet.
Okay, so this really would be. I haven't played with one, so I apologize for not knowing this from a firsthand perspective. But once you hook this up to say audio system, you don't have to, it's not like your phone, right? You don't have to walk up to it and click the button to change your next song. You can do that all through an app, just like you would with say like a Blue Sound or a Sonos. You've got an app like that.
Exactly. Yes.
Very good. That's that really takes it to me and puts it into a much more versatile light. So we've got a couple of questions that are, again, they're really good questions. Do the players allow downloading of Qobuz music over Wi-Fi? And I guess that would be really with any of the streaming services.
Yes, it does. So that you can highlight your favorite tunes or the tracks, and then you can get it downloaded to the internal memory of the player. And you can just take it on the go for no network environments like in the airplanes or whenever you don't have good Wi-Fi access. Still, you can enjoy the music from the internal memory.
That's great. The next one, it really, I think, affects both of us, but it's really more of a question directed toward Qobuz. When will you have a radio mix feature? Great question. We are working hard to get this on there, and we'll let you know when it comes up. I don't even really have a hard date on it. I do know that we're working on a radio mix feature, which I mean, really, right now, if you think about Qobuz and who it's for, It's really for the music lover. You not necessarily as much for the music discoverer as I would like it to be, although it's not hard to go down a lot of rabbit holes once you get into it. A radio feature is fantastic. We I can't wait till we do get it. However, if you are one of those Rune users, or if you don't know about Rune, you can load Qobuz into Rune, and they've got one of the best radio features I've ever seen. That's what I use for my radio. But great question. I'll apologize to our whole audience to begin with that we don't have that, but it is something that we're working on. We are not one of the larger streaming services. I can tell you, we are definitely the music lovers above everyone, but not necessarily going to ever have the most features. While we're talking about music and how to download it and how to upload it, tell me just a little bit. Very interesting little playlist that you've got here. Who put this together?
It was the work of all the team members. We wanted to throw in some of the favorite tracks that each team member used for their reference tracks. So that playlist is going to continue to grow with as we explore more music. But then we wanted to. We chose about half of them are quite popular ones, so that it is already familiar to a lot of listeners. But we want it to be tested again with the Qobuz service on Astel&Kern player, so that how different it can be sound.
Yeah, it's a really cool list. One of the things I think would be really interesting to add onto your list is like the first few years, you guys had some really cool music that just about, if you wanted to get it, you just about had to get an Astel&Kern's player or know someone, sort of deep in the industry. But there were such really cool tracks that you guys had chosen early on. So I'd love to see maybe some of the early tracks make their way onto your playlist.
Yeah, please do. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, cool. Let's see. Mark says, glad you're working on a radio feature. Thank you, Mark. Actually, I'm going to be on a live stream from the San Francisco Audio Society this Saturday at, I think it's 4 p.m. I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, join us if you can for that. Mark is a great guy, and he's got their audiophile society is just a bunch of really neat guys that are music lovers, and you'll find them talking about music just as much as you find them talking about gear all day. Although I'm gonna, I gotta make sure my pencil is really sharp, because these guys are really, really smart guys, and they'll answer some really cool questions. So at any rate, what have we left out? What have we left out about Astel&Kern that we should know? Do you have anything coming up soon that everybody should know about?
So we'd like to make all the products available readily for the purchase, so that more people can enjoy the quality of the music at home. Now, because of this damn pandemic, it is just changing everything that we know for, and then changing the norm. But one of other thing that we can rely on is the power of music. I believe the power of music has a great energy to it. It heals and soothes, and then it helps people to, when they're exhausted, they can get back onto the track after, recharge themselves. So I think that's why I believe the work that we do with Astel&Kern products, and then the streaming services and download service of great quality music of Qobuz can help a lot of people out there. So for next couple of months, I wish to I'd love to get done with this 2020 as soon as possible, yet with the minimum of the damage of the people's mind and their loved ones. And from there, continue offering this music and device options so that it can be continue helping folks at who works remotely or maybe just relaxing at home.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I feel exactly the same way. I think at least the friends that I've got on this stream, that's the way they know me. Music is very healing. It always has been to me, especially if you really invite it into your life and start listening more actively. There's some unbelievable there's some unbelievable music out there, and if you happen to be one of those people that take music to heart, it has helped your heart. That's all there is to it. There's no other way around it. I know for me, it's tremendously healing when I'm at work and when I'm not at work. I'm listening to music all the time and getting turned on to music all the time. And if you really want a good place to get turned on to music, by the way, there's a Facebook page out there that I run. It's called Streaming Music Matters. And we have so many music lovers on this site. That's mostly what it is. It's people sharing cool music. And we just did a post the other day that it's going to be a fun post for me to actually go through, because I think we got like, I don't know, 75 responses or something on it, or that's the way it was yesterday. There's perhaps more on it there today. But the question was, what's a band that you love that no one has ever heard of? And you would not believe the number of people that filled out, like the White Stripes or the Eagles of Avalon, or just crazy names. You're going, I've never heard of this stuff in my life. And the couple that I've been able to pop on, I'm going, wow, that's some really great stuff. How did you find this? Or even worse, how did I miss this? Sometimes you feel guilty about missing great music, but that's such a great message, Owen. And it doesn't surprise me that it's coming from you. It's very Zen-like, if you will. And I really appreciate the sentiment. I don't say nearly enough on the show how much our heart goes out to the people that are suffering from this horrible thing that we're having to go through. But if you are, I can promise you one thing: music will make it better. And we're just wishing everybody the very, very best out there. And stay safe, everyone. Be diligent. We will get over this thing, and when we do, we're going to be going back to shows, aren't we, buddy?
I'd love to see old friends back in the show in person and give them the warmest hug possible. And we will get there. We will get there for sure. Yeah.
Well, is there anything before we get out of here? I know that there's so many questions that we really didn't get to, because these hours to me seem like they're like 10 minutes. They just don't last a long time. But if there are questions that we didn't happen to get to, we'll certainly get to them at some point today or tomorrow. What else would you like to add? Anything that we've left out that we should be mentioned?
No, I was going to say the same thing, that all the comments and then questions that was not answered during the stream, that we'll answer back on either Facebook or the YouTube platform, so that your questions will be answered within as soon as possible. And we're going to welcome all of your attention, and then the other additional questions too, so that we can get through this with the great quality and the music options. But then the most importantly, I hope people just understand that this corona pandemic is going to be over, and then we will get back to the normal life soon. So until then, it's all matters that how safely and then how stay well is how important staying well. So hopefully everyone stays well and be well, and see you again in person soon.
So we will post the winner of the CT10, the Astel&Kern CT10. We'll post the winner of that in the next couple of days on all of the different platforms. everyone, thank you for the awesome questions and comments and the back and forth. We appreciate you being here as we always do. Next week we've got a crazy special guest, Cookie Marenko. You know Cookie, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, Cookie Marenko is the lead engineer and owner of Blue Coast Records. I love her to death. She has become, over the last decade or so, Cookie and I have become very close friends, and she is one of the most talented engineers I have ever met. She might not have quite as many albums as Bill Schnee, but boy, she is absolutely on his kind of a level. She was really one of the first people that started diving into high resolution before they called it high resolution. If you remember a brand called Wyndham Hill, Cookie was one of the recording engineers that used to work for them. She helped. So she's been doing this a long time. And then if you don't know about Blue Coast Records, we actually have the Blue Coast collection. When I came to Qobuz, I said, Cookie, I know we don't do DSD, but could you give us your collection in 24/192? As the kind of person Cookie is, she didn't even think about it. She just looked at me and she went, David, of course I'll do that for you. So she's like just this really neat lady that we're going to have a lot of fun with. And we're even going to be, I think, bringing some of her artists on with her. So join us next Thursday for the Qobuz Live show. Will be 4:00 Eastern time again. And you can always find these shows by going to either Qobuz Social or Streaming Music Matters. And right around the time that we're starting, you can click that link and join us. So thank you everyone for being here. And we hope to see you next Thursday. Take care.
Thank you, David.